What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jonathan Schofield, and my friends call me Scofy. And just as I push the go live button, there's like emergency response flying by the door. So give it a second for the ambulance to go by. Crazy Greenville, South Carolina. We don't have an intro video today, so I'm just making sure that this is actually working on the live stream here. Giving it a good old refresh on the LinkedIn. If you're seeing this live, say hello, and we'll get started here very shortly. You always got to double check these things, Jeff. Make sure the live stream is actually healthy. There we go. I'm seeing a feed. All right. We're going to start from the top. Now that I know for a fact with high confidence that we are live, the test audio. Yep, we're good. Welcome to the MSP Candyland Fallacy. I am your host, Jonathan Schofield. My friends call me Scofy, and we are joined today by my special guest, good friend and partner, Jeff Sumner of Tech Guides. More on him in a minute, and allow you to introduce yourself in a little more detail here, Jeff. But just some housekeeping, as we've got some people that are joining the live stream right now. Okay. So if you've never been on a live stream with Scofy before, this is not a death by PowerPoint situation. Okay. And even though we all are, how do I say this? There's no vendor pitch here today. None of us are necessarily always altruistic. We always want to get something out of these. And so Jeff is going to share something at the end, but this is meaningless if it is not valuable to you. So who are you if you're watching? If you're watching, let us know. Say hi in the comments. Give us a little wave. Give us a like on the stream. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're one of like our 3 subscribers and we love you.
That's great. Now you tell me.
Yeah, on YouTube. On YouTube. So we're streaming to YouTube right now as well, in case you didn't know. But anyways, say hello. Chad, I see you in the comments there. Sam, Leslie, hello. Welcome, everybody. And as more folks come in, what I want this to be for you today, if you are participating in this stream, is highly interactive. So I know enough to be dangerous, but I am not the right kind of masochist to run an IT services business for the last 20 years. We have that individual in the form of our guest, Jeff Sumner. And so I encourage you to not be shy. If you have a question for Jeff or for me, or you want to just say something you think or feel based on something either of us say today, please let us know. We have in the wings our producer, Sam Disraeli. We love you, Sam. Thank you for being here today. And he'll drag your comments on screen and we'll discuss them. Okay? So the MSP Candyland Fallacy, more on that later. But first, Jeff, we're so thrilled that you're here with us today. Take a moment to introduce yourself to those who maybe don't know you that are joining our stream right now.
All right. And, whenever I get on these kind of webinars, this is the part I always try to skip and go fast forward through. So but I get you need to know why it's even worthwhile to talk with me. Been in the IT business 33 years, have owned Tech Guides and MSP for 27 years. And sometimes my friends laugh and they say, oh, you have a lifestyle business, meaning, you're not really working and your business is tiny. And I think it's the reverse. It's reverse, or it's the same, but a different way. It's a lifestyle business, but because I've tried to create the lifestyle that I want and wrap the company around that to give me the lifestyle that I want, right? Not everything's perfect. There's days where I'm worried about cash flow and my employees, are great if they're listening. But sometimes they annoy me. Sometimes I annoy them. So everything isn't Candyland and rainbows. But for the most part, I've been able to kind of say, this is the kind of life I want. Let's make the business work towards that lifestyle instead of my life being driven by the business. So like I said, 27 years, I've learned a few things, still learning a few things, but hopefully I can give some insight to people. Well, and that's all I have to say about that.
I don't just invite everybody to do a live stream with me, Jeff. And for those of you who know me, know that I try to make these as valuable and relevant as possible for you who are joining us. Jeff and I go back a couple of years now, and I've had the privilege to see how he operates, understand behind the scenes a little bit, why he makes some of the choices that he does. And one thing in just my limited experience in the managed IT services industry, I've seen some common threads that I see a lot of MSP business owners either struggle with or strive to achieve, goals that for some maybe seem a little bit intangible or out of reach. And Jeff, I appreciate the humility that you're still learning. You haven't figured it all out, but I do see in you somebody who has been there, done that. You got a couple t-shirts, maybe a few closets full of them. And I think there's a lot of incredible value for anybody who joins us today. So I don't know why StreamYard is not letting me see who you are. I'm sure LinkedIn would tell me. Tennessee MSP business owner here. Thank you for being here. And if you are an MSP business owner, today is for you. If you're an MSP leadership in some capacity, you will find this very valuable. If you are a vendor or somebody that works in this space, though this is not directly for you, it is incredibly important for you to understand the status quo that your partners and your customers live and deal with every day. So I think you'll find a lot of value in this today as well. So I've got some questions for you, Jeff, and I just want you to use this as an opportunity to just share what's on your heart, okay? So we're going to limit your response for this first question to three things.
Three things, okay.
So if you could go back, you said 27 years, okay? Yeah. So let's give you the benefit of struggling through those first 3 to 5 years of getting like the foundational layers, your first customers, learning some of those basic lessons that every early stage entrepreneur has to learn. Let's say 3 to 5 years, you've got some revenue, you've got some customers, but you still have a boatload of crap to learn. You could go back in time and tell Jeff of 27 years ago, 3 things, only 3 things. What 3 things would you tell him?
Don't get those salmon colored shorts. Not a good look. That's the first thing I would do. The second one is you can absolutely charge more than you're charging. I feel like that. And that happens every year. I feel that's number 2. And number 3, well, I did this, but I would still tell myself is hire people that you can trust. That seems like a no-brainer, but I feel like that's something some of my colleagues have struggled with. And by trust, I mean, well, you said to limit it, so I'll stop it.
Well, you gave the 3. So the salmon colored shorts didn't fly for Jeff of 20 plus years ago, apparently. You can charge more than you think you can, and hire people you can trust. Do my spidey senses tell me that you've had some experiences with hiring people that you could not trust?
No, your spidey senses are wrong. It's the opposite. I found that I've been really successful because I was lucky enough to surround myself with people that I could trust. And I don't mean that like trusting with money necessarily, although there's that, but trusting with, I was talking to another MSP owner, and he asked me some things about my stack and technology. I said, I have no idea about that. He said, how can you not know? I said, well, I have employees, right? They deal with that. I don't know anything about that. So that sort of thing, and I know one of the things, even MSPs that have a number of employees, the owner is still the one who makes all the like technology decisions, or when the crap hits the fan, it goes all the way up to him or her. And that doesn't really happen at Tech Guides. I only hear, I don't really, technology problems don't come up to me. Some client issues will come up to me, but technology issues never come up to me. I haven't done any technical work, cybersecurity aside, since 2006. And so that's another thing. I think you have to decide as an MSP owner, are you a business owner or are you a tech who owns a business? And either way, either choice is fine, but you've got to decide, because it definitely colors how you make decisions and what you do.
Yeah. So Jeff, you've rubbed shoulders with a lot of your peers in the industry, potentially competitors as well. who have a similar or maybe identical business model, outsourced IT, cybersecurity, and now today, compliance, AI, and a host of other ways that your business services have evolved. But you just made an interesting observation. Are you a technologist or are you a business owner? I think every IT provider I've ever met who's in a leadership position or an ownership position has gone on that journey of understanding what it means to be one or the other and what's your identity. This idea of the accidental entrepreneur who maybe didn't necessarily begin with a business in mind or have any real idea of where it could go or if it would go. And then they've just by degrees made decisions that take them from where they were to where they are. If you were to talk to that IT business owner who is struggling to find their identity between technologist and business leader, what's your advice to that individual? Like, what would you tell them to help them find their identity in those two arenas?
And maybe I'll get some flack for this, but I think you've got to decide if tech is really your passion, then maybe running this business isn't for you if you want that business to grow, right? And that's where I might get some flack. I don't mean you can love your technology and own a business, but your decisions are going to be shaped by the fact that you just love technology and you're not focused on the business side, right? I think it's going to be constrained. It might give you a great lifestyle. You might be able to go on and sell it or pass it down to somebody else, all those things. But I'm focused on growth, right? I'm focused on moving ahead to the future. So that when you're come with it a business mindset, your decisions are different. It's always, how is this going to benefit the business? That's top of mind. How is this going to benefit the business? How is this going to improve? What's the cost of this? I feel like if you're not fully in that world, then you're not going to be able to take opportunities, and that's okay. But you're just understand that you're constraining yourself. You're shutting down some doors because you've chosen this other path. Again, that's right. Perfectly fine. No hate on that. But if you're like, hey, I want to grow, I feel you got to leave the tech side behind and give that to somebody else. Because the other part of that is, hey, couldn't I just hire somebody to run my business? You could, and maybe that'll shoot you to the moon. But I'm a big believer in you've got to have control's the wrong word, but you've got to have the guidance and the strategy, because the other side of that is nobody's going to care about each penny as much as you do. They can get really close, right? But if a penny isn't earned, you're the one who's going to feel that pain before they feel that pain.
That's right. That's right. So, I don't know why StreamYard hates you, LinkedIn user. I'm sure you're a real person. But the choice of working on your business or in your business, hard to do both. Yeah, I mean, we've all heard that before, right? But Jeff, you make a good point. When you make a statement, I have not done tech work since 2016, you said?
No, 2006.
2006. Okay. I don't know many MSP business owners that could say the same, that are in the similar demographic of IT business owner that you are. Some people maybe hear that and they're like, oh man, I would miss it. I would miss not having done any tech work. And that's okay to be a technologist and have technology be a major part of your passion. But when it comes to focusing on growth, our producer, Sam, who is, we were pre-gaming a little bit before we went live. We were talking a little bit about this. He expressed some of the similar things. It's like, I can't be everything at once. You can't do everything at once. So there comes an existential moment, I think, in every business leader's, identity journey. It's like, well, what am I? What am I? Am I a technologist, or am I a business owner that's focused on growth? What do I want out of this experience? Where do I hope to go on the other side of it? So go ahead.
That's not to say that you can't go into offshoots, right? So AI and automation is a great example of an offshoot. So we've been doing that. We've been doing automation since I look back. We've been doing automation projects since about 2017. But AI only in the last year. I was telling you, we have a 2-man division fully devoted to AI and automation, but I'm helping them do the sales right now, right? So I've diverted some of my energies into that. But the goal is, it's kind of like when you plant a field and there's a new field that you're planting, if I'm going somewhere with this analogy, I might be the one nurturing that, but then I want to be hands off once it's, grows a little bit.
That's right.
And so that's really where that is now. It's kind of doing its own thing. The guys know what they're doing. The division, they actually know what they're doing, but from the sales side, other guys are now able to sell those products and services. So I can kind of step back a little more and strategize.
So I want to reframe a little bit as we transition kind of into the general theme for today, the MSP Candyland Fallacy. What the heck do we mean by that? What is the conversation around that? But those of you who have been hanging out with us for the first 15 minutes, and by the way, the plan is to go about 35, 40 minutes tops. So we've got a good chunk of time left to hang out. But you've heard Jeff share some things already. You've heard me shoot off my mouth on a few things. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you have anything you'd like to add? Or is there a burning question in the back of your brain? And Leslie, I do see your question. I want to bring it up here. Oh, Sam already did. Let's tackle this that Leslie brought, and then we'll kind of reframe and talk about the MSP Candyland Fallacy and keep trucking. What's the one thing MSP owners think they want from an MSP that's actually the wrong ask? So I'm assuming what you're saying is the customer is asking for this thing from their MSP, but it's the one thing that is a misguided request. Interesting question, Leslie. Jeff, what's your take on this?
It could be any number of things, right? So I know she asked for one thing, but sometimes it's, how many tickets do you close? What's your speed on closing the tickets? How big is your staff? How big are your clients, right? What really matters is at the end of the day, do you have uptime? Are your computers running? Are people not have headaches? Are they able to do their job? So they'll compare. I'm just thinking back to an example where a potential client was unhappy with their with their current company. They came to me, and we're a shop, maybe more of a boutique shop, if you want to say that. We're 15 people. And they were like, well, you're smaller than they are, and you're more expensive. And I said, well, you're not happy with the job that's getting done right now. We can do it. I would not try to have you as my client if we can do the job. So that they were asking, the whole thing, they were caught up on size. Totally the wrong question to ask. And then they were caught on price. That's another question that SMB people, I think, sometimes get caught up on. And I think as an industry, sometimes it's a race to the bottom. How cheaply are we going to offer this stuff? But the real question is, it always comes down to value, right? And that gets back to where I said you can always charge more if you can show the client what the value is. So, and I tell vendors that all the time. I say, I'm not saying that what you're offering me isn't a fair price, but you're not giving me the value that I need. It's not worth it to me. So that's what the clients need to be asking, is what I am charging them, is it worth it to them? What's the value?
Yeah, if I was going to take a crack at answering Leslie's question, it very much reaffirms what you were saying, Jeff. I think the one, like, customers ask about price like it's the thing that's going to determine their decision. And a lot of times you'll hear a customer or a prospect tell you, oh, that's too expensive. Or they say, I can't afford that. And
right.
almost never is that the true objection. Their mouth will say price. They will, their words in that email will say too expensive. But the true reality of the reason they're not buying from you is something else that they are too afraid to disclose to you, or that you just have not asked the right questions. And but they think at, like, well, this is a quick way for me to end the sales conversation and exit the buying process, right? You gave me a number that gave me sticker shock, so end of conversation. It makes decision-making for the buyer so easy. Oh, I can never get $8K a month approved for managed IT, so that makes it easy for me to say no, move on with my life.
Right.
The thing that they really need to be focused on is what you said, Jeff. It's like, what's the outcome? What's the value? And your example that you provided of a customer who objected to price, but you correctly pointed out, Well, you're getting great price right now.
Right.
You're getting a great price for terrible service right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, so what's most important to you? Is it really the dollars you spend? And converting that conversation from IT as a cost center into no, IT and cyber are actually revenue scaling levers that you invest in, that you could pull on those levers to accelerate growth. And that's a hard shift to take the mind of the MSP customer or prospect from,
Right.
well, line item in the budget to, no, this is a strategic decision that's in my best interest. Great question. All right. As we continue on, I want to reframe here. Sam says, I've closed deals where the client agreed to pay 3x what they're paying because they knew they'd get better value. Yes. And that's awesome to hear, Sam. What that tells me is you're leveraging business acumen in the sales conversation over technical acumen. The assumption is that an MSP has technical acumen. You don't need to impress your prospects with your technical prowess. Number one, they don't care. Number two, they assume it's there already. It's like if you were to walk into a doctor's office, you would assume they have a general understanding of human anatomy, right? I don't like, oh, can you prove to me that you know more about the human body than me? No, I assume that you do, right? Anyways, great. The MSP, go ahead.
I was just going to see, Leslie was asking to that question about how you can defend pricing, because sometimes it's hard to do when the client's just looking at value. And the thing on that is, you know, everything that you just said, but also it's where are your clients coming from, right? So we do almost all of our marketing and sales focus is on, you know, you can call it word of mouth, but it's really networking, right? I don't do outbound sales. I don't do any of that. And it's not just asking clients for referrals. It's finding the people who are the connectors, be they clients, be they vendors, be they colleagues. People who connect you can connect you with other people, right? Once you get into those groups and really nurture that, that's going out with them, having a cup of coffee with these people. That's seeing them face to face. As much as Scofie knows, I don't usually go on camera, and I like just to be on my phone. Don't like to have meetings. I'll go face to face with people all the time because that's still how you build relationships. Once you get introduced, I think we all know this when we do have introductions at Tech Guides, we just do it a lot. When we're introduced into somebody, a lot of that trying to defend your value goes away, or defend your price goes away because you've been recommended to them.
100% echo that. I love your question, Leslie. How do you defend price? I'm going to challenge it a little. You should never have to defend your pricing. Your pricing is not a thing that requires defense. It does require, like, now you'd be like, what do you mean? My prospect just told me they can't afford me, and that's the reason they're not going to buy, or at least that's the perceived reason, or the thing they told me and the reason they're not going to buy. You wouldn't walk into a high-end steakhouse, right, and then get your bill for a Wagyu beef, clean cut of meat that's highly sought after, and try to negotiate with the restaurant. It's like, oh, this is an $85 steak. Well, I'll give you $45. No, like you elevate the conversation. Like, no, my costs are my costs as a service provider. You don't go to a lawyer and negotiate their hourly rate. They would tell you. They tell you what the price is. You don't go to a surgeon. You don't go to a surgeon that has highly specialized skills and say, "I'm willing to pay you X for a triple bypass." That's not how it works. So you and Sam's note about justification and explanation. It's not even just justification, it's changing the conversation entirely, okay? So have you ever spent money? Have you ever spent too much money on something, anything, and you were absolutely thrilled that you did, right? Have you ever overpaid for something, right? And you did it enthusiastically? I would wager a guess you probably have. You probably have, and why? Why? Because the marginal benefit that you're getting exceeds the marginal cost of what you're going to pay. Yeah. Okay. So I love that. I love that, Sam and Leslie. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that gets to, just really quickly gets to, and you have to know your potential client, right? Sometimes pricing too low, or even the current pricing that you're doing, is going to turn them away. You price higher, and that's with the Fendi, Coach, and Porsche, right? You price up higher, your value moves up with that price.
That's right.
You have a much higher perceived value just because you came in out of the gate with a higher price.
Yeah, yeah. So money should never be the reason you lose a deal. Okay. Now, if you're like, I don't understand what you're talking about, my calendar link is on my LinkedIn profile. Book 30 minutes with me, and I'll tell you all the reasons why. That I could teach you a whole course on that specific question, Leslie. It's a great question. Now,
to Sam's point, finding the clients that already understand the need and the value, you've got to find the clients who are successful. No, no offense to the guys who are struggling, but you don't want the ones who are struggling, right? You want the clients who have some cash and their business is throwing off cash, because anything you do to allow them to keep making money, they're going to understand that.
So actually, the last thing I'll pin on that before we kind of transition, because hard to believe we're already running up on the top of the hour. So I've had people tell me, challenge that, like, what do you mean price is not the reason I lost a deal? I can literally point to 3 deals last quarter that I lost because of price. And then I say, all right, let's triage those together. Let's open up your quotes. Let's open up your CRM, and let's take a look at them. And then 9 times out of 10, the observation that I make when that was the reason they bought was actually not the reason or the reason they lost the deal. They were selling to a bad fit customer, right? It's like, no, you just told me your ideal customer is a 50-person law firm, and this person was a 3-user nonprofit. And of course, so you didn't lose the deal on price. You lost the deal because you were selling to someone who isn't your ideal customer, right? Or another reason might be you think you're selling to an ideal customer, but you're selling to the wrong person at that company. And one of the biggest deal killers is because you have a seller over here selling to the non-decision maker, right? And this person positions themselves as a decision maker. It's like, well, I deal with all the IT stuff in the office, so I'm the one that you need to talk to. Well, you really look at it, that person isn't the one who's cutting the check. They're not the one who's signing the contract. And if you never get audience, you never get a seat at the table with a true buyer, then this person might say, oh yeah, I can never afford that. When the truth is, this person may not necessarily have the real influence or understand the business the way that you need to gain access to the right people. Anyways, so you're right, Jeff. You're right.
Something on that is I find that sometimes employees of my company, employees of the other companies, not the decision maker, right, are, sometimes, oh, we can't charge for that, they're never going to pay. Or the buyer, not the decision maker, might be like, well, that's too much money. You have no idea what the guy or the woman up in the corner office, what's a large amount of money to them. That's right. A $15,000 XYZ that's going to solve a problem might be peanuts to them.
That's right.
You have no idea.
So I'm going to force a pause on this conversation because we need to start transitioning towards the end, believe it or not. And I'm so thrilled for those of you who have hung out with us for these 30 minutes. The premise of the MSP Candyland Fallacy, you might be like, I haven't seen the tie-in to the Candyland analogy the entire time y'all have been talking. If you've ever played Candyland, there's this special spot on the board, that if you're lucky, you spin the arrow and you get the right color, it takes you to what's called the Rainbow Bridge. Those of you who have kids, maybe you've played this in recent past, maybe you remember from your own childhood, but what does the Rainbow Bridge do for you? You jump over like 40% of the board. It's something stupid. You skip way ahead. You're like a third of the way from ending the game just by luckily landing on that fast track. And one of the things that I am frustrated with in the MSP industry constantly is you've got vendors and subject matter experts and and coaches and consultants and all of these people who come in and say, well, if you only did X, you would jump ahead. If you only did Y, you would jump ahead, and you would be that much closer to Candy Castle. And they give you this promise. They give you this promise that if you only, do the thing, you can shortchange the blood, sweat, and tears required to build a successful business. And for me personally, I find that really frustrating. And from my perspective, Jeff, you know me, I spend so much of my time working with folks from a sales perspective, business development, building channel programs, all of that stuff. And in my world, there's so many people promising the moon. And the reality is there's no shortcut. And Jeff, I think you've learned that, but you've learned to also build systems that sustain the systematic growth to help you live the lifestyle you want, build the business that you want, and then take it to that next level. So as we kind of wrap up and then give a little bit of a plug for some of the stuff you're doing here, Jeff, thoughts on the MSP Candyland Fallacy. Is there that square on the board that MSPs are just not lucky enough to land on, that they should be trying to land on? Or what would you suggest they get to Candy Castle?
Well, a bunch of things. One is, like we've already talked about, you've got to, if you want to grow, if you want to get to Candyland Castle, whatever that is, right? You have to reframe your thinking from a business standpoint. I think something, I've been on the soapbox before. I think a lot of MSP owners do not think about themselves and their family when they're making decisions, right? They're like, oh, my clients will never do this. They won't go for it. Oh, my employees won't do this. They won't go for it. What about you? What about your family, right? Are you missing family events? Why are you missing family events? I started, my older kids were very young or even not born when I started, and I wanted to spend time with them. So it was like, okay, the decision is I need to be able to spend time with them. What do I have to do back over here? So you have to decide what's important, right? Is your employee getting upset because you changed a piece of technology? Is that important that they'll get upset? Oh, they might leave. Or you're going to make thousands of dollars of money more per month because you made this decision, right? That's the kind of thing. And guess what? The employee is probably not going to leave, right? If you're a good employer, they're not going to go. But now you're making thousands of dollars more per month. That sort of thing. You have to just keep thinking what actually is my goal and work back from that. Another thing is stop learning. At some point, like put a pin on your learning and actually do the stuff that you've learned. And then another thing is that I think we were talking about this before. There's some stuff I need to do right now that I don't want to do. I've got to do it, right? I think most MSP owners already know what they need to do. Start doing that and then say, okay, now I've gone as far as I can. Let me reach back out to those coaches and consultants and those experts who can now help me now that I've gotten to this point. Right. And it might be you could be at varying stages. Technology wise, I'm fine. I'm going to keep going and do my thing. I don't need any help. Sales, I need a little help. Or it's the reverse. Sales, I'm great. We got a great engine. I need some help on the technology side. So, yeah.
I wonder how many.
Did that go?
I think it did. I'd be very curious to know how many people watching were expecting Jeff to lead with family and like this idea of work-life balance. I think a lot of people would probably not expect that because they're probably hearing like, oh, I need to work more. I need to work harder. I need to do more things. And you just said, you actually need to protect those things that are most important. And I think I agree with you because I have seen business owners take, and if he's watching, I say this with all the love and respect in the world, because I know it came from a place of love. But I remember I was riding in the SUV with an MSP business owner after an event that I was helping with, and his cell phone rings, his personal cell phone rings. And he was on speakerphone. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I was in the passenger seat. And I heard this business owner of a multi-million-dollar MSP basically take a support call from one of his clients on this drive. And I get, and I listened to him, and man, clearly these two had a very personal relationship, have known each other for years. This guy on the other side of the phone, his customer, was dealing with a personal IT issue, right? Something related to the iPhone update, just like wiping out a bunch of his contacts. And what was interesting, I'm listening to this, it was a personal IT issue. It was not in scope of typical managed IT relationship. And he took this call, spent 25 minutes talking to this guy, got off the call, and then escalated it to his senior engineer. Said, hey, I need you to take care of this after this. And then when he was done talking, I said, hey, does this happen all the time? Where your personal cell phone is getting called for IT support, for personal residential IT support? He's like, more than I wish it did. And I was like, okay, interesting. So and he's not alone. I've seen MSP business owners bend over backwards and make exception for clients. And they set a precedent that my personal time, my family time, and my life is something that you somehow have licensed to tap into ad hoc whenever you want. And you get to soak up my mental state, and you get to soak up my calendar. And they don't protect that stuff. And you want to know what I've seen is the consequence of that. And I know it comes from a good place. You desire to serve the customer, right? You desire to give a good outcome to your customer, make them happy in this moment. And you might be thinking, oh, this is a quick fix. I can do this right now. And now your customer's happy. But when you set that precedent, you discover, if you have like this codependent relationship with your clients, that your ability to provide that to 10 customers, 25, 75, 100 customers degrades dramatically as you scale, and you're going to want to beat your head in with a brick. So that idea, Jeff, of protecting your priorities, making space for yourself in your role as a business owner, I think is very, very important. I know there's probably some people listening right now who are like, well, I'm a really small team. Maybe I'm a one-man band, two-man band. Someone's got to take that call. It doesn't mean you can't build systems around you. In fact, all the more reason you should, that protect what's most important, because you cannot burn the candle at 75 different ends and be shocked when you run out of wick.
Right. I'd say that's absolutely true, right? You have to decide what's important to you and build a moat around that, and then don't let things interfere on that. Corollary to that, or along with that, is why is their time more valuable than your time? Why, like you said, why is their ability to make money more valuable than your ability to make money? The last thing I'd say is, if you're a small one-man shop and you're trying to do all these things for people, or you're a two-man or three-man shop, are you getting paid for it? Right? Because that's the other side of it. Right? When you may be willing, if you're starting out, you may be willing to work really hard, but has there been service creep? And now, you gave them, these are the hours that we are, and they call you outside of those hours and you're not charging extra. Well, why not? Well, they would leave me. Would they though? And I suffer from that too. Every year, when you do rate increases, but why? Why does the MSP industry have a problem with money? We shouldn't, because your clients don't.
And I would say there's nothing more expensive than closing a deal with a bad client. No. And there's nothing more costly than a toxic customer, right? That soaks up your mental space, your literal time, and does not make you money. That's not a customer you want. Right. I know sometimes when you're small, it's hard because you need revenue, right? So you cling to it. Okay, we're out of time. As a way to end today, I want to share something that Jeff has shared with me. Tech Guides has been developing some really crazy things that they've been able to have tremendous success taking to their customers, right? And what I want to make a clear distinction here is this came from Jeff and his team seeing the waves of cybersecurity and now AI, and knowing that they were the ones who needed to lead the conversation with their customers. They rolled up their sleeves over the last 8 years and more on the cyber side. How do we, in a meaningful way, position ourselves as the leaders around cyber and AI? And how do we use it to make our business more money without killing our operations and making our customers thrilled. And I'm speaking for Jeff here a little bit. I'll let you speak on it in a little bit. But what he's looking to do now is to find ways to partner with other MSPs, not to compete with you. In fact, the opposite, to empower you to do the same. So if there was a sales pitch in this, it's really not. This is all very early stage. What Jeff needs and wants, and I highly encourage anyone on this call who's a business owner, get time with him, and you need to tell him all the reasons his ideas suck. You need to get on a call with Jeff and tell him all the reasons his ideas suck. He's currently working with a handful of MSPs to build this partnership ecosystem out. This is different than like a $1 billion vendor who's coming and offering a security stack point solution to you. This is somebody who's shoulder to shoulder with you in the trenches, who's figured some stuff out. So if you've gotten value out of your conversation with Jeff today, we're going to put his calendar link in the comments, blow him up, get some time with him. There's no obligation or commitment. It's literally, he wants to share what he's working on, and he really wants you to tell him all the reasons it sucks. And I'm going to shut up now and let you kind of end this for us, Jeff, before I wrap up the call. What are the 3 reasons an MSP should reach out to you, and what's the best way for them to reach out to you? And then I'll close this up today.
Well, I realized I'm going to do reverse. I didn't send you my calendar link. I told you I was going to do it right away, and then I forgot to do it. So I don't know if I should throw out my email, because that has my calendar link on there. So if you can throw out my email. I'm not sure I even know how to do that. Or Sam can throw out my email.
I tell you what, we will put the link in the comments when we get off this call.
Perfect. Okay.
And so if you're watching this, look for that and book with Jeff, or you could also just message him directly on LinkedIn. He's pretty responsive there, and he'll coordinate with you. But go ahead, take the rest of the way.
So the 3 things about working with us or partnering with me or learning about what we're doing is what we're hoping to do is help you make more money, reduce your headaches, and get this whole AI and automation thing to market for you if you're not doing it already, and some higher level cybersecurity stuff. You'll see tons of stuff on LinkedIn about, oh, you got to be selling AI and you have to be selling automation. It's harder. We're ahead of where our clients are, right? But we figured out some things about how to meet them where they are, or kind of bring them along gently. So then they go, oh yeah, now I want to do some things with you. And we've created some really neat things with cyber security and AI and automation that's recurring, right? That's the holy grail in our world. And we've got some of that. And I'd love to sit down. If you guys say, once you tell me what ideas are great, what ideas aren't, move forward and help you sell our services so you can make some money and keep the client happy without you having to put all the money and investment that I did on the AI side. So, yeah.
And I'll tack on to that. Thank you, Sam. I know you've been putting Jeff's LinkedIn link here, and I just put it on LinkedIn in the comments. I have a love-hate relationship with AI right now in our industry, in the MSP industry specifically, right? The love I have for it is through my own personal experiences and seeing the applications that some of my partners and connections and peers have successfully rolled out AI somehow, some way to their customers is absolutely amazing. Some of the things I've seen, some of the things that a lot of us were not capable of 6 months ago. It's absolutely changing so much about our space. The hate part, here's the hate part, okay? So love, hate part. If you struggled to build revenue as an MSP business owner before AI isn't going to fix that for you, okay? Knowing how to go to market and how to position with your customers, to blend technical and business acumen to legitimately engage your customers and or your prospects, to get them to see what you see. You might be on this call being like, yeah, I drank the AI Kool-Aid months ago or years ago, and I fully believe it. But when it comes down to translating this into something your customer will understand, value, and give you money for, that's where I'm afraid for a lot of service providers, and why I'm really excited about what Jeff is building, because they've literally been doing this successfully in their own MSP. Take his blueprint, learn from him, partner with him, and you'll be amazed at what I think you're able to do. And maybe you're farther along in your journey and you've got it figured out. Good for you. Help us understand what's working for you and share with the community. But there's so much opportunity, but you still have the business to run. So anyways, Jeff, I'm so glad that you shared some time with us today.
Thank you.
If you appreciated Jeff today, show him some love in the comments. And if you spent time with us on this call, we're grateful for you. Your time and attention is precious. You could have spent it a lot of different ways, and you hung out with us today. So thank you very much. We'll probably do this again if you got value out of it. We're going to end the stream, and we'll catch you all next time.
Thanks, guys.